Hello everyone, this is Alex from Sign Builder Illustrated. We're here at ISA 2026 with our Top Young Sign Maker Award winner, Matt Baker from Baker Signs in Houston, Texas. Matt, thank you so much for being here.
Hey, thanks for having me, Alex. Thank
of
you
course.
To you and Sign Builder, definitely.
Of course.
Proud to be here.
If you're in the signage industry and you have a LinkedIn, you have definitely seen Matt. He is a great person to connect with. If you're at the show next year, you got to find Matt Baker to understand how to network in the signage industry, and we're really thankful you took the time out of your day today.
I'm thankful to be here.
All right.
Welcome, everybody.
So if you've read the magazine, you know that he's a big family guy. It's been a family business for a long time based out of Houston. But when he got the reins, you know, things really took off, and it's one of the most respected sign shops in the country right now. But going back, could you talk about what it was like growing up in the signage industry? Your mother was very involved, and from what you told me, she actually found out about you while she was pulling a sign code program.
Yeah, so I'm again, thank you for having me. You know, we come from very humble beginnings. I'm actually a third-generation sign guy. My grandfather was a painter back when it was all hand done on porcelain. My mom and dad met at a sign shop, as you kind of alluded to. My mom's water broke, actually pulling a permit in the city of Houston Sign Administration with me. So literally and figuratively speaking, was born in the sign industry.
Yeah.
But if I was doing something different, I could not imagine what that would be.
Yeah.
Currently, it's myself and my one of my younger brothers that's involved in the business with us, and we're hoping to keep that tradition going.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
And so, you know, there's a lot of people who are running their own shops, but they haven't been able to find their traction. They haven't been able to kind of make a name for themselves in their market like you have with Baker Signs. What advice would you give to a young sign shop owner who hasn't found their niche? They haven't found their customer base that they can rely on. You know, that can be scary. What would you say to somebody like that?
Man, it really kind of comes down to within keeping the finger on the pulse within your people and within your clientele, right?
Yeah.
Within our business, we've really tried to stay as heavily integrated within the frontline people, what's working, what's not working, as well as listen to our clients. Where are you guys seeing the demand? Where are you having a hard time? And kind of staying very fluent, but also moldable within growing the business and staying relevant with both of those parties.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And another thing, you alluded to it a little bit, dealing with clients. You know, as we keep getting further and further in the years here, they really want custom work and they want things to look exactly how they think it should work.
Sure.
But how do you as a sign shop owner deal with that? Because, you know immediately certain things aren't possible, but you're going to try as hard as you can to meet those demands. How do you deal with clients like that?
Yeah, you know, and that's kind of that's a tough one because, you know, we really like to try to push ourselves as like the signage professional advisor. So sometimes when a client, they might know what they want or they think they know what they want, but really to be able to, you know, make sure that we are adhering to the brand standards that they have in place.
Yeah.
But also they're calling us for a reason, right? We're the professional sign builders. So sometimes many times actually, we're able to over-deliver on the client's expectations.
Oh, really?
Just with open dialogue, open communications. Yeah. The design process is a huge part of that. But really taking that professional advisor approach to where they might know what they want, but to be able to sweeten the pot a little bit and give them something maybe even a little bit better than what they were thinking.
Okay.
While still, again, staying on time, staying on budget, and staying within the brand standards. That's what we try to do.
Yeah, and you know, familiarizing yourself with that process, it just takes time, right? There's no way to know that other than experiencing it.
That's really it. You got to go through the motion. Sometimes it's the school of hard knocks.
Yeah.
But sometimes that's the best way to learn, right? I look back on the last 20 years and some of the biggest growths that we got, not only that I got personally, but we got collectively as a company, came from that of some of the biggest trials and tribulations that we went through, right? So it's kind of don't let those mistakes define you. More let them refine you, learn from it, move forward, and don't do it again. You know, and put parameters in place to try to protect that process. So yeah, it's ever evolving and ever changing in that regard.
Yeah, that's really well said. We appreciate that insight.
Yeah, for sure.
In terms of managing, you know, you have a large team these days. You got a big facility. Could you give our viewers some insight as to how big your team is? And after that, you know, how do you manage a large team? And are you, as the owner, are you knowing everybody's name, checking in on everybody? How does something like that work?
Yeah, so, you know, a couple things. Our team is between 70, 75 employees currently. And we try to surround ourselves with the best possible people that we could afford at any given time.
Yeah.
Right. And there's really no secret to that. We tend to hire more off somebody's their morals, their values, kind of who they are and what they represent as a human being, rather than that of what their resume looks like.
Okay.
And we've had really good luck with them doing that.
Yeah.
But then staying connected, yes, I do. I make my rounds daily around.
I've seen that online.
Yeah, not only within the shop, but within the field crews as well as the shop crews.
So you'll take some on-site visits and everything like that?
Oh yeah, daily.
Yeah,
I mean I'm there every day, but in terms of really kind of staying connected, and also our employees have a voice. They are the voice.
Yeah.
You know, so the more that I could, regardless of the level of where we're at within the company, the more that you can stay connected with those that are on the front lines. They're the eyes and ears, right? And that allows us to be able to make the decisions that we need to continue to move the company forward.
Yeah, and as a result, of course, that builds morale and improves the mood of your workforce when they see the owner coming out to the job site.
Well, and yes, it does, but I think more so than that, when they bring up an issue that they're having, or something that they see that we might be able to change a little bit, and it have a positive impact on the business.
Yeah.
When they bring that up, but even more so than that, when they see those changes happening based on a conversation that we had, their voice is heard, their voice is recognized, and taken into consideration. I really think, in terms of that full cycle, it really helps.
Okay, perfect. I appreciate that insight. Just a few more questions here. So, based out of Houston, huge market, a lot of development. I know you cover Texas, outside of Texas. Can you talk about how you choose your jobs? Because I'm sure you're getting, constant requests, but how do you go ahead and decide what's a job for Baker Signs and what might not be?
Yeah, on that front, man, we're probably not as picky as we should be.
Yeah.
Right now, we have our core client base, many of which we've worked with for 20 and 30 years, and those are our core clients. But we do jobs as small as door decals and window vinyl, all the way up to high-rise pylon signs and some of the tallest buildings in the state of Texas. So within that, sometimes those small vinyl jobs can lead to that of a whale, right? So it's more so just finding the clientele that aligns again with our morals and values. They pay their bills, and there's a symbiotic relationship within doing business together.
Yeah, makes sense.
So we generally give everybody an opportunity and a chance at that, and we also appreciate that opportunity. But sometimes we need to make the decision whether if we're a good fit for them or they're a good fit for us, and sometimes, most of the time, that works out. Sometimes that does not.
Yeah, makes sense. To put you on the spot a little bit, I know you're pretty tapped in, especially into new technology, new designs. What have you been seeing out there in the market in terms of kind of the newer stuff you've been doing, or a request that you're seeing come in that maybe wasn't there 5 years ago?
Man, the last couple of years specifically, we've seen a huge demand of more architectural, artistic elements kind of incorporated into the sign package. That, as well as different lighting techniques. Obviously, LED technologies came a long way over the last 10 years, but between to be able to kind of tie some art into the brand, we love doing that. Many times we kind of get our backs against the wall if we're doing something that we've never done before, or we're not quite sure how we're going to do that. And really, honestly, that's where we thrive, right? It kind of brings a heightened level of excitement, a heightened level of collaboration within the team. So that's, we really enjoy being able to work on those projects.
All right, thanks. Just a couple more questions for you, Matt. So in terms of what you consider to be, your mission statement at the shop, it's more than a shop. You got a whole operation going.
Sure.
But I know you like to focus on messaging. You like to focus on inclusion, the workforce. Everyone trusts each other. But how do you build something like that?
Man, from the ground floor up, brother. And again, I don't think there's any I wouldn't say there's a secret to it. It's just a matter of doing what you say, saying what you do. We try to abide by the golden rule of do unto others as we want others to do unto us.
Yeah.
I'm not going to ask any of my people to do anything that I wouldn't do myself.
Yeah.
However, within like the accepted standard that we have within the company, when we show up and we come across the premises of the property every day, it's go time.
Yeah.
And that same hunger that we had when we first started the business, it is still prevalent within the shop today, even though we have grown exponentially.
Yeah.
And sometimes we feel like we're just getting started. But I think that same little piece to that is what helps us continue to move the ball forward.
Perfect. Makes a lot of sense. Last question here. You know, if you could go back and give yourself, your 10-year prior self, advice, a hardship that you've overcame in the last decade, something that took a lot of blood, sweat, and tears to understand, what would that be?
Man, again, through the trials and tribulations, or the biggest blessings lay within that.
Yeah.
Dream big, and when you think you're dreaming too big, dream a little bit bigger.
Yeah.
And then again, surround yourselves with the best possible people that you can at any given time. And it's like, through putting emphasis on those three factors, I'm a firm believer in the sign industry. It's almost impossible to lose.
Exactly.
You know, sticking to the script of good business, doing business with the right people, being willing to commit and work for it.
Yeah.
It's impossible to lose.
And I know I said last question, but to build up that, you know, you're a very strong networker. You got a great social media presence. You know, that's a really important thing these days, right?
It is. Yeah. People they like to know who they're doing business with. Yeah. And it's nice to do business with people that are good people, you know, and I feel confident within not only myself, but our whole team. We're genuine good people. So to kind of portray that, but also there's a fundamental factor of, you know, a lot of this has changed over the last several years, but the sign industry is not a well-known industry. You don't have kids coming out of high school or going into tech colleges that are setting, and even myself, third generation, I didn't know I wanted to be in the sign business until I had stumbled in it, like 99.9% of the people do.
Yeah.
But when I got in it, it's like, man, look at all the different potential career opportunities that we have in this industry.
More wide-spanning than people think.
And how can we get that out there? How can we get that out there to the broader spectrum, to where people know, hey, the sign industry is a viable career. Look what these guys are doing. They're having fun that they're doing. They're building cool stuff. They're working with cool people. So, and I think, you know, through social media and marketing and public relations, we're able to really shed some light on how cool this industry is.
Yeah.
You know.
Perfect. Well, Matt, thank you so much for your insight.
Yes, thank you, Alex. Again, I appreciate you, and
of course,
you and the team for having me, and look forward to some future collaboration with you guys.
Of course, yeah. And for those watching, you can always follow Matt on LinkedIn. He's a very responsive guy, and I know you've helped many in the industry, and you'd be willing to help new people too.
Always. I'm always anyone from competition to new people coming up to veterans. If it's out of the best interest of the sign industry, I'm 150% on board. So yes, please reach out to me. Don't hesitate, and thank you guys for watching.
Yep, and the magazine, you can read a little bit about Matt, and I'll have a new web-based story that includes much more information and all the photos you submitted. And of course, check out his website. Once again, thanks for watching. Tune in to signshop.com, and we appreciate your view.
Thank you guys again.